don't think any kid of dreaming to become a pro wrestler wants to be champion for 4 seconds. I mean, if you do, good for you. Your ambitions are weird and different, and that will probably serve you well. But it doesn't look good on paper, does it? So-and-so held the title for a minute. Sounds like you won it by accident. It happens though, and I can only imagine a wrestler's face when they're told it's their time. Kinda. All those years tolling away on the road, taking bumps, and your prize is snatched away from you quicker than it takes to boil an egg. And I'm boiling an egg right now. Not true. I am not boiling an egg. That aside, I'm Simon from What Culture, and this is the 10 fastest WWE title changes ever. Number 10, Dolph Ziggler. Given that the 600th episode of SmackDown in February 2011 was pre-taped, we don't have an exact time of how long Dolph Ziggler held on to his World Heavyweight Championship he was gifted on this night from Vicky Guerrero. Could have been 5 hours for all we know, but let's just take what we saw on TV as the truth, which would put his reign at about 90 minutes. The reason it ended so soon was because just as Ziggler was celebrating his fake win, Teddy Long returned as the real GM of the show and booked Dolph in a match later on against Edge. Now, not only did Ziggler lose, but he also promptly got fired afterwards. That's a shite day for Ziggles right there. Had his shiny new toy taken away and he lost his job. No wonder he just dumped the US title recently. Probably knew what could have happened otherwise. Number 9, Rey Mysterio. In the history books, Rey Mysterio is a 3-time WWE World Champion. The first 2 had their own issues, of course, but the third one was absolutely ludicrous and still doesn't actually make much sense today. That's if you can remember it. It was over before you could poke yourself in the eye. Don't do that. In part, this was because everyone knew the real WWE Champion was CM Punk, who had run away with the belt after leaving the company following victory over John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011. The tournament they held on Raw in his absence was basically a farce to begin with, so why not muck around with the finish? It still sucked for Mysterio though, as he won the title from The Miz at the beginning of the show, only to lose it about an hour later when Big Match John just rocked up at the end of the evening and ate him alive. To be fair, it made perfect sense from a storyline point of view for the franchise player to serve as Vince McMahon's paper champion while Punk was away. Just seems very odd that sweet, innocent Rey Mysterio was the guy thrown under the bus. Again. Really, it's not that surprising, is it? Number 8, Randy Orton. At No Mercy 2007, Randy Orton, the blue chipper, the young up-and-comer, the future, the man, held the WWE Championship for 20 minutes. That's right, 20 pointless. This was similar to entry number 10 in the sense that Vince McMahon just decided, hey, I like you, Randy, you're alright, so here's a title belt, now go and make me proud. The only problem was that Triple H was watching keenly from the back, and he didn't like what he was seeing. The game came down to the ring and immediately goaded the Legend Killer into putting his new prize on the line in the evening's opening bout. Orton took the bait, like they always do, and he ended up losing after a roll-up pin. He would be without the title for a little more than 2 hours, at which point he beat Triple H, who had also faced Umaga in the meantime, in a last man standing match to close the show. What the hell was this? Number 7, Daniel Bryan. In hindsight, WWE screwing Daniel Bryan over and over again was wonderful, because it made his win at WrestleMania 30 all the sweeter. Today, we obviously know better in terms of what was actually going on, but still, from this vantage point, it's lovely. At the time, however, it was absolutely heartbreaking to watch the former Ring of Honor star lose his first ever WWE title in just 4 minutes after falling victory to the company's time-honored tradition of booking good guys as gullible half-wits at SummerSlam 2013. All this came after an absolute barn burner featuring the Yes Man and John Cena. Bryan, to the shock of many, scored the victory, but he let his guard down in the crucial post-match moment, allowing Triple H, the special guest ref, to nail him with a pedigree. As if the betrayal wasn't enough, a grinning Randy Orton then came rushing down the ramp to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, marking a reunion between the Viper and the Game. Actually quite a nice twist, until you took everything else into account. Number 6, John Cena. At the Elimination Chamber 2010, John Cena had just hustled his way into winning the WWE Championship against 5 other men. It was grueling, tough, hard-hitting, all that stuff. But Cena did it. What a guy he is. But then Batista was awarded a shot at the title, because why the hell not? He was best buds with Vince McMahon at the time, and that's all you need. To no one's surprise, this was just one obstacle too many for the former rapper. He took a spear and a Batista bomb before getting pinged 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, his 8th title reign officially cocking in at just 3.5 minutes. 1 or 2 fans did then start complaining about the prospect of seeing Batista and Cena, the 2 breakout stars of the Ruthless Aggression era, go at it again at Mania, but to be fair, a pretty decent match, with Big Dave playing the role of hacked-off heel to a T. Number 5, Jeff Hardy. The overwhelming consensus on CM Punk's first 3 years with WWE was that they were pretty good, but in no way, shape or form comparable to the time he spent in Ring of Honor. To reach those heights, most of us said he would need to turn heel. This finally happened at Extreme Rules 2009 when the straight-edge superstar crashed Jeff Hardy's celebrations by cashing in his Money in the Bank. What made this such a brilliantly low move was that Jeff, probably the most popular wrestler on the entire roster at the time, had only just captured the World Heavyweight Championship from longtime adversary Edge after a punishing ladder match. Punk made sure this lasted no more than 3 minutes, rushing down to the ring and nailing him with the GTS twice in quick succession, and that was that. Hardy was done and Punk was about to go on quite some journey of his own. Number 4, Yokozuna. WrestleMania 9 is considered by many to be among the very worst shows in the event's 33-year history, but at least it had a happy ending, or did at the time. Who knows what it means anymore? The story here is that 1993 Royal Rumble winner Yokozuna, managed by that evil Mr. Fuji, had just beaten good guy Bret Hart to claim the WWE title, marking the first time in Mania history that fans wouldn't be going home with smiles on their faces. But just as the new champion was celebrating his win, the Hulkster arrived on the scene, rushing down to put things right. Since this was before the days of Money in the Bank, he relied on Fuji offering him an impromptu match, reasons for which are still unknown to this day. I think Fuji was just a moron. Even though Yoko had beaten Bret Hart without breaking a sweat, he was made short work of by the Hulkster, who sealed another title victory after just 22 seconds. Zuna's reign in total lasted just a bit longer than 2 minutes, making it the 4th shortest in WWE history. Number 3, Seth Rollins. To the surprise of no one, Dean Ambrose was the last of the Shield lineup to get his hands on the WWE Championship, and when he did, the title reign that followed was largely disappointing. No one even really talks about it now, and why the hell not? If nothing else, it certainly began with a bang. The Lunatic Fringe first landed the belt at Money in the Bank 2016, where he ambushed and exhausted Seth Rollins to cash in the briefcase he had won just an hour earlier. This followed Rollins capturing his 2nd world title after beating Roman Reigns in the night's main event. It was a brilliant moment for the Shield's forgotten man, though, as Dean had always felt like he was treated just a touch worse than his 2 mates. It's just a shame the company showed so little faith in him in the months that followed. Travesty. Number 2, The Big Show. As we've already chatted about, Daniel Bryan spent the bulk of his WWE career getting screwed over by the creative team. This time, however, it was the former Ring of Honor star doing the screwing, with Big Show of all people his victim. The incident came at TLC 2011, where Big Show beat Mark Henry to win the World Heavyweight Championship, his first world title in almost a decade, because I don't count the ECW belt. For many reasons. The world's largest athlete had no time to celebrate, however. First, Henry, despite being beaten up fair and square, got up and DDT'd him onto a pile of chairs, and then Bryan came running down the entrance ramp, briefcase in tow, to relieve him of his new belt. For show, it's actually kind of heartbreaking, but fans could only spare so much sympathy. They were just delighted at the fact that Bryan, a man many had expected to be a B-plus player in WWE, had at last reached the promised land. Number 1, Andre the Giant. Beating Big Show to the title of shortest ever WWE World title reign by just 4 seconds is his dad, Andre the Giant, who relinquished his crown in under 2 minutes after winning it at the main event in February 1988. Unlike Show, however, Andre wasn't actually pinned. Instead, he simply traded the title for a big wad of cash, thanks to Ted DiBiase, who had also paid an Earl Hebner lookalike referee to count a fast pin. Wrestling. Remarkably, despite being one of the biggest stars in the company's history, both in terms of stature and profile, this was the only occasion on which Andre held the biggest prize, and it lasted a mere 1 minute 52 seconds. That's all the thanks he got for helping to define a whole era. Another interesting bit of trivia for you is that the reign that preceded Andre's, thanks to Hulk Hogan, lasted some 1,474 days. And that has to be the record for the greatest contrast between 2 WWE title reigns. So go and do with that whatever you fancy.
Why would you look at that? You got all the way to the end of the video and your mother said you'd amount to nothing. What are the chances? While you're here, why not watch one of our other many, possibly quite good channels, or watch another video which will be largely in the same vein as the quality content you've just endured. Go on then.